Please welcome Senior Director, North America Solution Specialist, Rajesh Sheikh Kapoor.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rajesh Kapoor, but I affectionately go by the nickname of Sheikh. What I lead for North America is the solution specialist in all of North America. You know, that's a mouthful. People are probably wondering, hey, what does that mean? What that means is my team and myself, we work with customers such as yourselves to help build out your infrastructure and your data management storage ecosystem. Hey, before we get into the topic with our panel of simplicity and scalability, and our conversation will focus on the challenges that we build into the intelligent data infrastructure from NetApp, I want to address a big elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is, hey, can you call a short Indian guy Sheikh? So if some of my brothers and sisters are in the audience, I'm offending you, I apologize up front. The simple story is, yes, you can call me Sheikh. The way that I got the nickname Sheikh is I landed in Minneapolis, Minnesota when I was 8 years old. And we grew up, and we basically moved 200 miles straight north of the Twin Cities. Anybody want to take a guess at how many brown people were in northern Minnesota in the early 80s timeframe? There was 4. My mom, my dad, my brother, and myself. They're like, dude, we can't pronounce your name. I'm like, it's Rajesh. They're like, we can't pronounce it, we're going to call you Raj. I'm like, no, that's my mom's name, come up with a different nickname. And Sheikh has stuck ever since. So I apologize again if I'm offending anybody else. Hey, to understand where we're going, I want to actually go through where NetApp actually started. I didn't explain this, but I have actually been with NetApp for 25 years. You know, 25 years ago, the tagline for NetApp was fast, simple, reliable. We actually wrote a book in the very early days of NetApp. It was a handbook that was handed out to everybody. It summed up simplicity. It summed up our selling advantages. It summed up how we helped customers make their environments very, very simple. When people heard of Network Appliance, mind you, that was the early names of NetApp, we didn't even have to explain what we did. Appliance indicated we made things simple. Hey, over the last decade or so, some of our competitors have stolen the concept. Okay, let's be nice to them. They've borrowed the concept of being simple, right? Everybody says the best imitation of flattery is plagiarism. All right, today, what we're going to walk through is making sure that you understand how the NetApp platform are simple. Simplicity has more than just actual hardware, right? It has to be able to understand how you as the end user consume it, how your applications consume what we're implementing with you, and it also helps with from a simplicity on how you consume the technology. Back in the early days of NetApp, you bought a system, you installed it in your environment, and you put applications on it. Today, you have the cloud to worry about. Today, you have CapEx models to worry about. Today, you have a lot of other things to worry about. Hey, so, you know, the definition of simplicity evolves over many, many years. Over the last 25 years, simplicity has evolved. Scalability has also evolved. I was also a NetApp customer before becoming an employee of NetApp. I actually implemented, are you ready for this? A grand total of 250 gigabytes worth of storage in 1999. My friends up here are smiling because that was a great amount of storage then, right? Today, we're talking to customers and we're helping them actually implement in the generation of AI. Petabytes is a common terminology. Exabyte is coming in the next 5 to 10 years. What's going to happen? We're going to be talking about zettabytes. We're going to be talking about just capacity that's going to increase. In this age of intelligence, you know what? rather than hearing it from me, I'm going to invite my panelists so you can hear it directly from them as to how they take simplicity in the market. So can I introduce my panelists? Alex, Mauro, and Stuart, will you come on up? All right, guys, we're going to keep this super, super simple. So Alex, can I start with you first? I talked about my idea of simplicity, right? Whether it's how you consume it or how many. What's your idea of simplicity?
Yeah, thanks. Nice to be here. Look, simplicity for us is quite simple. We're in the healthcare business. It's patient and doctor satisfaction, ultimately, at the end of the day. So it doesn't really matter what happens in the engine room. As long as you can get that patient and doctor satisfaction, that creates simplicity.
Alex, my apologies. I didn't let you introduce yourself and where you're from and what you do for Helios.
Sure, no problems. Hello, my name's Alex Larson. I'm Group CTO for Helios Healthcare in Australia. We're Australia's second largest provider of pathology and radiology services. So we have roughly 3,000 clinics, labs, and hospitals across the nation.
Mauro, can you give a little background on yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Mauro. I'm the VP of Cloud Services for T-Systems in North America. Right, so T-Systems is a global managed services provider. So we have presence in over 20 countries, 30,000 employees. And we're specialized in providing managed services and solutions in areas like security, cloud, digital, and professional services.
Thank you, Mauro. Stuart, my son did call me this morning, and he said, make sure you ask Stuart if I can get an internship. Can you give a little background on yourself?
Yeah, my name's Stuart Bailey. I'm the head of infrastructure for Aston Martin Formula One racing team in the UK.
Very nice. Thank you all again for making the long trip. Alex, we're going to start with you. You know, when we were prepping for this, you said you have started a journey with NetApp about a year ago. A year ago, you were not a NetApp customer. Now you're a NetApp customer. Can you discuss some of the operational efficiencies that you've received with NetApp?
Yeah, sure. Look, I think, yeah, as you said, last year we joined the NetApp family, or just after Insight last year, which was great outcome for us. You know, we're a heavy storage organization. We have over 30 years of patient data, very heavily skewed, because we don't delete anything. So we've got a lot of patient data. As a result of that, we joined the NetApp family, and we built from the ground up 2 data centers over a 3-month period. And a result of that, you know, saw incredible efficiency come into our business. We were running backups 24/7 just to keep up with the volumes of data that we were having, and new volumes of data coming in. And so we were able to then turn that into an overnight, you know, standard overnight job that most organizations would adhere to. You know, we also gave ourselves really good buffer room, around about 20% in there to adhere to other jobs without impacting, you know, 24/7 operations with hospitals and things like that. I think the biggest efficiency we saw though was it was less tangible. We had this amazing outcome where, as we were building the data centers and migrating some of our services over, all of a sudden we just started getting calls from doctors and calls from clinicians saying, hey, I've heard that you've built this new system, and you know, my colleague's transferred all his systems over, and oh my God, we've just experienced this amazing speed increase. And we just couldn't keep up with demand. It was a really good feeling actually, because a lot of this stuff is done in the engine room, and when your customers or, you know, your business feels the outcome, you know, for me, that's success.
Yeah, so simplicity in your mind is the doctor's efficiencies going much, much faster.
Absolutely.
Very nice. Welcome to the NetApp family.
Thank you.
A year ago. We're going to go from Alex to Mauro. Mauro basically said that he's been a NetApp customer for how long, and part of the NetApp family for how long?
About 18 years now, so long-standing relationship.
Well, we appreciate everything that you do. So Mauro, I asked the same question to Alex around his definition of simplicity. Mm-hmm. What about you?
In my opinion, you know, Sheikh, I think simplicity is not just about cutting steps. You know, I think it's about having a smart design that really helps you like deal with complexity without feeling overwhelmed by it.
Gotcha. Hey, Mauro, so in your time of simplifying processes that led to significant improvements at T-Systems, can you describe one of those and explain that to our audience?
Sure. I'll bring a recent example. So we just recently launched an industry cloud, right, our health hybrid cloud. And our goal with this platform is really to offer healthcare, payer, life sciences organizations with like a seamless experience, regardless if they're running on-premise or if they are on our own private cloud or on a hyperscaler, right? So, and in order for us to accomplish that, we leverage some NetApp technologies that allow us to really segregate data, for example, according to the local geography, right? So in the end, with that, we can scale more efficiently because, for example, I can move workloads between private and public cloud while I still comply with data sovereignty requirements, for example, performance or resilience requirements, right?
So everything that our marketing department talks about, you actually implement
Exactly.
within your organization, is that accurate?
Exactly, and it's a key differentiator that we see with the platform by leveraging what NetApp brings to the table.
Yeah, you know, going back to the book that I shared here, right? What we as NetApp in the early days, and we still do it today, is we would ask when we're working with customers, after we got done with an implementation, hey, everything that we talked about in the architecture, did we deliver upon that? So I appreciate that, Mauro, from T-Systems. Stuart, once again, my son is still calling me and texting me about an internship.
Just saying.
We were prepping for this, and I was telling my son that I was talking to Stuart Bailey, who's at Aston Martin Formula One racing. He's like, Dad, will you ask him if I can get an internship with him? Stuart, I'm going to ask you the same question around simplicity, right? Your idea, your thoughts around simplicity. You're racing cars around the racetrack. Whether it's technology, in your mind, definition of simplicity?
Oh, simplicity is around ensuring that we maintain a minimal number of systems. We have quite a small team within Aston Martin. It's a small kind of infrastructure operations team. Simplicity to us is just about keeping the lights on and ensuring that we can deliver our services to the team and ensuring we don't have too much complexity.
I hear you. Yeah, not too much complexity is a big thing. Hey, at Aston Martin, your job is to win races. Is that accurate? Or what is your real business?
I think, well, yeah, that's the job, is to drive fast and win races ultimately. But in a nutshell, I think we're a precision design, engineering, and manufacturing organization. Also, we can throw in a logistics component to that as well. So we're concerned with the design, the development, the testing, and the racing of essentially ultra high-tech vehicles, probably the most advanced vehicles in the world ever. Those cars they weigh 800 kilos, which is about 1,700 pounds in the local currency. They're 1,000 brake horsepower. They're made out of carbon fiber almost exclusively. They're made up of roughly 15,000 components. And aside from the engine and the gearbox, which we get from Mercedes, we design and manufacture almost all of that. We produce something like 35,000 CAD models per year. So it's a fairly substantial undertaking. We then have the logistics of transporting all that to 24 races around the globe, racing those cars over the practice, qualifying, and race day, and then acquiring data. We could say we produce a lot of data across trackside telemetry, across our wind tunnel, CFD, HPC applications around finite element analysis. We generate huge data sets. So in a nutshell, I think that's it.
You generate a bunch of data.
We generate loads.
Have you ever gotten in one of those cars?
I have. I've sat in one. Don't ask me if I've driven one because it's a big deal to drive one, unfortunately. It takes kind of 4 guys to even start one, but one day.
They don't want you in a car that's how many pounds of how many dollars expensive?
I don't know. It's really hard to put a figure on it. I would have guessed they'd be, each car's probably worth in the region of £2 million. So what's that? Just $2 and a bit million, I think.
Yeah, one day, that's the goal to
that's
get in there.
right.
Mauro, can you share a specific example? I'm going to come back to you. Share a specific example of when you faced large data sets, kind of building off what Stuart talked about, and how your organization and how your team overcame that.
Sure. So one of the biggest challenges we had, and I think it's probably common to almost everyone here, was really like managing the exponential growth of unstructured data. In healthcare, for example, had to manage like huge volumes of data and with different regulatory retention requirements, right? And which is just impossible to manage through manual process. I'm sure Alex can
Absolutely,
attest to that, right? So to overcome that, we implemented a unified data management solution that automated the data classification, So that helped us not only like comply to the different local regulations, but also reduce costs, which was a nice side effect, right? By moving the less utilized data to less expensive storage tiers.
So scalability in your mind is movement of the data as well.
Exactly.
So in your organization, Mauro, like NT Systems, what are we talking about from a scalability standpoint as far as capacity systems and that kind of stuff?
We're talking about 100 plus petabytes of storage. I don't know, I think we're above the 3,000 controllers worldwide, presence in multiple countries, so really large scale.
Very, very large scale, right?
Yes.
Alex, I'm going to move the question over to you next, if that's all right. In our conversation, you mentioned that over the last year, $5 million of annual cost savings from moving from different architecture to NetApp. Can you kind of talk about that and how your organization achieved that? Was that all through technology?
Yeah, look, absolutely. I think, pardon me, before we started our NetApp journey, we were sitting on a hyperconverged architecture. But also 6 months before our NetApp journey, we'd also started our digital ecosystem journey. So these are all of our patient, doctor, hospital kind of portals, and we just did not have sufficient capacity to be able to house these in-house. So we went all in cloud through just lack of sense of urgency. And as we undertook our NetApp journey, we actually then started to realize, well, hang on, we can actually bring a lot of this capability back on premise. We can maintain performance, we can maintain accessibility, and we can save a cool $5 million in the process. So we've started migrating a lot of those systems, back into our data centers where appropriate. And as a result, we're just seeing, kind of from a commercial aspect, those numbers come down, and we are seeing equal, if not higher levels of performance as an outcome with the customers that use those systems. So that was a really fast and quick journey. That kind of happened probably within 6 months of us being on board with standing up our NetApp capability.
Yeah, Alex, we were also talking, right? In your organization, do you buy and sell organizations? You diverse or not?
Yeah. We're made up, we're like a mini conglomerate. We're made up of a number of businesses. Just last weekend, actually, on the plane coming over here, we sold one of our businesses. And so we've spent all this time bringing all of our businesses together, under a single NetApp roof, and now we're having to split this out. But I think the benefit of what we've actually achieved with our NetApp setup, actually what we can now do is we can actually split so much faster. I think we've actually got a 3 to 6 month kind of time frame where we're able to stand up companies as a standalone entity, transition loads across quite successfully in regards to separation. So, and that's a huge cost impact, especially when you're selling to private equity firms and things like that.
So simplicity in your organization also is operational efficiencies as you diverse or buy companies.
Yeah, so acquisition, selling, again, it just creates a level of simplicity from a system perspective, which is good. It's good for business.
Yeah, I know we were talking in the keynote, right? Harbella basically said, the vision of NetApp is ONTAP. ONTAP has been the common glue. It's been the operating system. It's been the firmware that helps customers through those particular journeys. So thank you for that. Stuart, with the innovations, some of the innovations that NetApp is helping with, right? How How are these being brought to F1, to your organization, the technology that we're bringing to you?
I think it's fair to say that NetApp have been a key partner of the team since the team's inception in 2021. And to that end, they're very much an extension of our internal technical teams, I think it's fair to say. They're kind of embedded in almost everything we do in many respects. Specific examples right now, we're just in the process of deploying a new petabyte scale storage grid deployment, which is really going to help consolidate a lot of our big data sets from our various engineering departments and really allow us to start exploring those AI opportunities, which we know are on the horizon. We've also put a big effort into replacing our factory HCI compute platform with a new FlexPod, which is already showing substantial performance improvements in the distribution of live telemetry data in the factory. And also, we've just deployed a FlexPod as well within our F1 Evo team. F1 Evo team is essentially a test team. It's a cut-down version of the trackside infrastructure that travels with the race team to different events. And it supports test events throughout the world. So that would be driver development, tire tests, and also show car events. We often talk about how many races Formula One teams compete in at the moment, so 24 every year. But the F1 Evo team is doing 14 events themselves as well across those various use cases. So some substantial effort going into innovations from NetApp.
Yeah. So, Stuart, just building upon that, you said our teams work very close with each other, right? There was, when we were prepping for this, there was a story that you told about how you replicated data from on the track. Can you kind of talk through that once again, right, from a technology standpoint, I think that's innovation that helps you solve a business problem out on the racetrack.
Absolutely. So with the advent of FlexPod at the track and our A400 platform in the factory, we were able to ensure that we got rapid transmission of data from the track to the factory. During the race weekend, we have around 40 engineers that man our mission control facility at HQ, and they provide augmented engineering support for those trackside engineers. And I think a really great example of the efficiency of SnapMirror was, I think, in the 2023 Australian Grand Prix. We'd come to the end of free practice 3 on Saturday morning. Qualifying was another couple of hours later. There was some conjecture within the engineering teams at the track as to what the best ride height setting to have on the car would be. And so to that end, we transmitted the data back to the factory, as we do through routine. We took that data, fed it into our vehicle simulation model within the factory, ran a load of different simulations, different scenarios, different parameters, and we spat out an answer as to what that ride height would be. We were able to advise the track what the ride height of the car should be, and lo and behold, Fernando went and scored a podium position that race and came home with a shiny trophy and a points haul. So I think that we improved the data transmission time from something like 20 minutes to less than 10 using SnapMirror. And so that was crucial because the margins are so fine. So that was a crucial decision, which was supported by NetApp, which had a great outcome.
SnapMirror, almost a 27-year-old technology, replicating data from the track to your corporate and then back and then adjusting that.
Correct.
I mean, that once again, right? Technology, using it for the business benefit. Hey, Alex, you know, how has NetApp contributed to reducing your service desk calls and improving your overall situation with from a performance standpoint?
Yeah. Look, I mean, we're in the business of patient care. We service a lot of hospitals where you may, for example, have a patient on the operating table requiring a pathology test. We have a 40-minute turnaround kind of a KPI on those results. So after the implementation of our NetApp solution, we saw a lot of impacts from an efficiency and speed point of view with regard. We saw roughly a 5% reduction of direct service desk calls in relation to slow systems or reporting of slow systems, which is quite significant in our business. We do a lot of 24/7 overnight kind of results pushes. I just gave the example. And we saw those speeds just get to a point that we were nowhere near our KPIs. You know, we were moving from kind of that 39, 40-minute kind of position, you know, down to that 20 to 25-minute position, which is a really great outcome. So the speed of our clinical workflows, it also opened up a lot of our data opportunities for preparing in regards to a lot of the AI that we're doing in just getting data ready, speed of AI speed of data through our AI modeling, ready for our clinicians to.
So is AI real in your organization?
Yeah, look, I like to say we're AI done, not AI ready, because we are actively using a lot of AI. For those that were lucky enough to see our campfire session yesterday, you know, we went through a lot of that. But look, it's really exciting times because we can now provide our clinicians, our diagnostics, we can provide much stronger patient care. And the way I talk about it is, if you go to the doctor not quite knowing what's wrong, they put you on a broad spectrum antibiotics only for you to go back 3 or 4 weeks later to say, look, it's not working, I need something else. The idea of how we can then pursue the speed and simplicity of data through our AI models allows us to diagnose with greater accuracy, but ultimately it allows us to get our patients on on the right treatment plans sooner. And ultimately, it's about patient care for us. And so the simplicity of how we handle that data, incredibly important, right? And NetApp unlocked that for us.
Yeah, I mean, I've been talking to a lot of people around the conference over the day and a half, and the question around AI keeps coming up. Sheik, is AI real? Is it here to stay? Is it one of these fads that's just going to die out there? I do not believe it's one of those technologies that's going to go away. I definitely think it's something that we are definitely going to incorporate. And the heart of that is what we all need to understand is the thing that feeds AI is your data, and your data, right? In different capacities, but it absolutely feeds into helping transform businesses, transform what you're doing in an organization. Hey guys, so a question for the entire group. Mara, we'll start with you, right? In this discussion that we've had over the last 20, 25 minutes or so, right? Scalability and simplicity. If there was one thing that you would like the audience to walk away from, right? Whether it's working with NetApp from a business standpoint, from a technology innovation standpoint, you also saw how much we're integrated with DreamWorks. What's that one thing that you want the audience to walk away from?
So I would say, Sheik, that in my opinion, simplicity and scalability are not mutually exclusive, right? But I do see like automation as the main bridge that connects them, right? Maybe not the only bridge, but it's the main bridge. So my one suggestion is embrace automation, right? And try to look for opportunities to automate, especially the repetitive tasks, right? Because that's what really going to allow you to scale while you're keeping the simplicity.
Yeah. I'm going to just build on that one too, because once again, talking to customers, this is where you get the best experience of what NetApp should be innovating in. I was sitting with a customer yesterday, and one of the things they were asking for was, hey, why doesn't NetApp build a common control plane? Control plane for going out to the cloud, coming back, and all the components of that. That control plane from NetApp is really BlueXP, right? BlueXP is the underlying platform that helps you do automation on-prem. It does some of the replication stuff. It does the sensitivity from ransomware. That is a control plane. But there is a tremendous amount of technology for that. Alex, same question for you.
Yeah, look, my answer is probably slightly different. I mean, for those of you in the audience that are not running any NetApp at the moment, don't believe us. Just test it out for yourself and let the performance speak for itself. I mean, that was our entire success story. I talked about our business interactions and how they felt the engine room. Feel it. Just as I said, talk's cheap. Let it talk for itself.
That's why we have the panelists up here. You don't need to listen to it from a short Indian guy, but the panelists up here. Stuart, how about you?
I think the key for me is really about the simplicity. Keep things simple. Simple is good. Simple is reliable. It's been a real weight off our shoulders to get rid of a lot of the legacy stuff, a lot of the legacy storage, and get it all on one common platform. It's easy to manage. It's easy to maintain. It's more secure. I think simplicity is my key takeaway, especially if you're running, if you're running a fairly small team. If you don't have a lot of resource, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. I'm gonna put this book up again, right? I actually started looking at this yesterday, and it's literally about 3 pages of actual instructions and about 10 pages of acronyms at the end, right? Simplicity is at the heart of what NetApp is working on. It's at the heart of what customers are asking for. It's at the heart of how we make your operational environments simple. Last question for all 3 of you guys, right? I know Alex runs very long races. He swims 30 kilometers. Alex, is there advice for the audience? It doesn't have to be technology. It can be about swimming, like, you know what, breathe on both sides. I don't know.
I don't know. I just find something that gives you focus. I mean, it allows you to succeed, I guess. I mean, I know you and I were speaking prior to this, and you're a runner yourself. So, yeah, find that thing that keeps you on track and on the objective, and the rest will take care of itself.
Thank you very much. Stuart, advice from you for the audience?
Implement some NetApp. No, I think that's it. I think that's the key takeaway for me.
Is there anything that you would ask? All right, let's talk about a wish list, right? We got a couple minutes. Wish list. If there was something that you would like for NetApp to do to help innovate something on behalf of yourselves, right? That may not be on a technology roadmap. What would that be? Mauro, do you want to start?
I would say continue to look for ways to simplify the architecture. You know, Sheikh, you mentioned how simplification is a key value for NetApp, and just continue to work towards that. Because I think, in my view, the more complex a system is, the harder it is to manage, to scale, to secure. So there's a lot associated with that, right? And when a platform is simple, then it's easier for me, for example, I was talking about our scale, it's easier to provision resources, for example, multiple regions, and satisfy our customers, our end customers too, right? So I would say simplicity.
Keep that at the heart of everything that we do, right? Absolutely. The DNA of fast, simple, reliable was making everything simple. We're going to keep working on that.